think of it like that, it really does highlight where you are, how you feel. It can indicate to you immediately on your discomforts, your insecurities, the things you are great at, obviously, as well. And it then just started making me think about how many dualities there are in this life. Like, everything is a duality. It's how we're able to feel this motion of life. As soon as you highlight something, that's what becomes your direction. Like, everything is a force. So when you are pushed back by a situation, the only force to that is to go that way. But when you want to push against that would be the ideal thing to do, to get the situation you want, rather than just succumbing to forces. But I think as well, this is where identity comes into play as well. So if you think you cannot do something, you won't. So sometimes we can be so structured in who we think we are that we're limiting ourselves, just because as well I feel like it's about association and not necessarily you know the facts of something. So we're making these presumptions because of an identity we think we understand. And the moment you just go with things a lot more, the less struggle you have. It's a simple thing to say and it's a simple thing to understand. But yo, that's how simple life can be. And understand that the less control we attempt to have over life is the more control we have. Like, we do stuff like, I would never do this, and I wouldn't make myself look silly like that. All of these things is what makes it hard for you to get over shit like that, because you're saying absolutes rather than just taking every day as it comes. When you take every day as it comes, you start to realize, oh, I can do anything I want. It's when you're saying, you know, imagine you did something great today. Immediately, and I can't be the only one, but immediately I'll be like, what about the next day? What about the next week? How can I sustain this? And it's not, and when I say immediately, I think that it's not like a big thought. It's sometimes just a small thought, and sometimes we ignore those small thoughts and think, yeah, but those are signposts of who you are. You take that on and focus on that. Now that's a part of you. And what makes things more of a part of you, and to the point you can tell someone's personality, is that you've done this again and again and again and again and again. You've done it so many times that you tap into that frequency so easy that we can see who you are just from that. Like, as I'm saying this, part of me is like, are you sure? Da da da. Like, there's this niggling doubt, and it's so subtle. It's so subtle. It's not a real hold over me. It's just these little slight little things, and they just like nudge. They kind of nudge you in a direction. But again, so you know, whatever age you are, when we know the history of how long we can live and what can happen and and all of these things, when we start structuring our mind like that, that's what limits us, because we're throwing ourselves over there and we're always having that in mind before we make a decision. So you're like, man, I wanna see to this age. Why do you want to see to that age when you're right here in this age? Do you get it? Like, as soon as like I wanna be 99 and da 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 da, you're thinking about the future. Thinking about the future to the point you're not here enjoying what now is and what now could be. So the more self-aware you are, the more you can change these structures. So it's about slowing things down, not fighting against things, like really look to eliminate the things that bother you. Like anything that bothers you, just move slightly towards it. It's not a thing of like I can conquer everything. Don't even think of it like that. Just think of it as, oh, what is that? Let me move closer towards it. Especially if it feels uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, move, because there's going to be a reward there. That's how you should just understand. Every time you feel uncomfortable, there's a reward there. So, and that's the thing, you don't have to go grabbing every single reward. It's just when you feel ready and feeling able and feel to yourself, oh, I haven't done any receiving rewards in a while. Let me go closer to this since I felt a bit uncomfortable. Again, it's just changing and playing with ideas and thoughts that you think is definite and absolute. And I feel like as soon as you start doing that, you start seeing things in a more malleable ways. It reminds me of the Matrix, where the part about the spoon saying, if you want to bend the spoon, you have to understand that there is no spoon. Because it's the fact that you think so absolute with this spoon that you can't see anything else. So that's what's keeping it in its structure, is the way you think about it. And whatever you're labeling it is what it is. If you think you cannot do something, you won't. But the moment you say, I'm going to do this, you do. We're hesitating on things because we're like, you're telling yourself, oh, I won't be any good at that. That's the only reason why you don't do something. You're saying, I won't be good at that. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. As soon as you say those words, that's what you start behaving like. But the moment you're like, I can do that. I know I can do that. More times, if you really said it and knew it, you would do it instantly. And that might feel like a pressure to think you could execute everything perfectly every single time. But that's just the problem. It's not about thinking about it being perfectly, it's just doing it. Because as soon as you do it, you realize on what you want to do with this thing, rather than prejudging it and preempting how you want to live in that situation. And if you realize most things you do that you end up doing is because you thought of it in a light way, not so heavy as, oh man, I would never be any good at that, I don't know everything about that. Just go in there light and see what happens, because that light touch may set you on a road that you never knew you could find, opening doors after doors after doors. So what I'm saying is, be light and gentle with everything, which is why it goes hand in hand with slowing things down. You will gain momentum the more you understand something, the more you slow it down, not rushing it because of any insecurities, not rushing it because you're being self-aware of what other people might be thinking of you, which it doesn't matter ever, never will, unless you want it to. Because again, that's all about limitations. But when you realize you are literally your limitation, that's it. That's it. If I think, oh, I can be everyone's influenced by people, then that's what I just took on. But what if I say to myself, nah, I've never been influenced, and you then start behaving like that, whether it's other people's reality or not. If you feel that this is my reality, then that's what starts to exist. Because the more concrete you are with that, the more who's going to deny you. And when you know you cannot be denied, you might feel dangerous to yourself. And I think there lies how in control we are of our life. If you get this, you know exactly what I'm saying. Just be light with every moment, and explore, be curious, have fun.